we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death.
Bangladesh has crossed a line no one imagined, a death sentence for Sheikh Hasina in absentia, the woman who ruled for over 15 years and kept extremism in check. A nation that once stood as a beacon of economic growth and political stability is now convulsing with protests, Islamist resurgence, and communal unrest. And now the crisis reaches India. Sheikh Hasina is on Indian soil. With an extradition treaty linking Dhaka and New Delhi, the stakes are enormous. Does India give her up or protect her, knowing that the decision will shape the future of South Asia's political landscape for years to come? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Bangladesh is living through the most volatile moment since its birth in 1971. A nation once defined by its fight against extremism and its rapid economic rise is now staring at a political earthquake. The death sentence handed to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal. But to understand how Bangladesh reached this moment, we must return to the spark that lit the fire. The student uprising that spiraled into a national revolt and tore through the country's political foundation. What began as a protest over job quota discrimination, a technical bureaucratic issue, erupted into a generational war against Hasina's governance. Students flooded the streets in Dhaka, Chittagong, Rajshahi, and Sylhet. Within days, campuses turned into conflict zones. As clashes intensified, several young protesters were killed, deaths that transformed an economic grievance into a moral revolt. Bangladesh, a nation with a history of uprisings, had reached its breaking point. Hasina's government responded the only way it knew, with force. Tear gas blanketed university gates, armored vehicles rolled through Dhaka's busiest roads, and in scenes that shocked the region, police opened live fire on campuses. Photos of students with bullet wounds, teenagers beaten and dragged away, spread faster than the government could control. The moral authority of Hasina, once credited with ending decades of instability, collapsed almost overnight. But street protests alone cannot topple a leader as entrenched as Sheikh Hasina. Her political machinery, her bureaucracy, and above all, her security establishment had kept her in power for 15 years. What changed was the silence and then the fracture inside Bangladesh's security system. As protests intensified, senior officers in key units appeared to pull back. Decisions that once required minutes suddenly took hours. Orders went unanswered. Some insiders insist this wasn't simple hesitation, it was influence. And that influence, many claim, came from abroad. For years, Washington, headed by Biden administration at that time, was uneasy with Hasina's tilt toward Beijing, from Chinese-funded mega projects to military cooperation. But the real flashpoint was St. Martin's Island, a small coral island in the Bay of Bengal with massive strategic weight. The US wanted access. Hasina refused. Not once, not twice, every time. In a nation where extremism once cost thousands of civilian lives, this resurgence triggered alarm bells, and history repeated itself. As with every moment of political breakdown in Bangladesh, minorities, especially Hindus, became immediate targets. Within days, temples were desecrated, shops were looted, villages were attacked under the cover of political chaos. Hindus, already down from nearly 30% of Bangladesh's population in 1947 to under 8% today, once again found themselves fleeing their homes. The social fabric Hasina maintained through strict policing was beginning to tear. The tribunal verdict that followed, sentencing Sheikh Hasina to death for crimes against humanity, came at a moment when Bangladesh was already off balance. Critics argue the trial was fast-tracked, shaped more by the politics of the new order than by evidence. Many view it as an attempt to erase Hasina's legacy, to portray her not as a former leader but as a pariah. In a publicly released statement, Hasina said that the verdict announced against her was biased and politically motivated.
Everyone knew this sentence was predetermined. These trials were rushed. I mean, it's a historic trial, and they finished it in 2 months, 3 months. This is an unelected, unconstitutional, undemocratic government.
And now the crisis arrives at India's doorstep. Hasina is on Indian soil. India and Bangladesh share an extradition treaty that mandates cooperation, except in cases where charges are political or where the accused faces persecution, unfair trial, or the death penalty itself. In Hasina's case, all these conditions apply. India's legal framework gives New Delhi the right to deny extradition, but geopolitics rarely obey legal logic. For over a decade, Hasina was India's most reliable partner in South Asia. She dismantled terror networks operating against India, cracked down on ISI-linked groups, curbed infiltration, and strengthened regional connectivity. Hours after the verdict, India's Ministry of External Affairs said it will engage constructively with all stakeholders considering peace, democracy, and stability in the neighboring country. As Sheikh Hasina waits, isolated, hunted, condemned, a single truth hangs over every corridor of power in South Asia. Her death sentence may not calm Bangladesh. It may ignite forces far more dangerous than the ones that drove her out.